I talk about her all the time, but I am not here to testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today. That's what you're getting paid for.
With attack.
I want you to know that your own.
What started as a simple yes or no question quickly turned into one of the most tense exchanges of the hearing. Representative Deborah Ross repeatedly challenged Attorney General Pam Bondi over reports that Ghislaine Maxwell received special treatment in prison, refusing to let the conversation drift away until she got answers. Here's what unfolded.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Bondi, I think you and pretty much everybody else here and throughout the country believes that convicted sex offenders don't deserve special treatment or privileges in prison. And yet Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, received perk after perk in prison. In July, she had a 2-day interview with your deputy and President Trump's former defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Just days after that, Maxwell was transferred from a federal correctional institution in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas, which she, as a sex offender, would normally be ineligible for. At this new facility, as the ranking member talked about, and by the way, it's nicknamed Club Fed, we've heard reports that she's been afforded special privileges, puppy time, private workouts, personal mail, secretarial services. Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No.
And
let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower level.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand here.
And I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things. But I want you to know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported, that the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here, they see themselves as being denied justice. They feel re-traumatized. And I'm glad that we agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump. It's just crazy to consider that she can be wielding this kind of influence within the administration. But that begs the question. Who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for? Who signed off on the special privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple
who
of
died
other
on a subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So, of course, we're moving back to you. It is all about you. So, as we've heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question in that committee hearing. And her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no? You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
when
what
it
should
agrees
happen
with you. But you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk about
I talk about
murdered
her all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but
offender
I am not
in
here
your
to
jurisdiction.
testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today.
You are
That's what you're getting paid for.
obsessed with attack.
I want you to know that your own DOJ employee, he's recently been demoted and had some other problems, advises on pardons. Do you think he will be advising Mr. Trump on any kind of clemency or pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I'm not going to speculate, and you couldn't even identify properly. That's why you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You couldn't properly identify her relative.
I absolutely
It's embarrassing.
have been, and her family, by the way, appreciates all of the condolences, all of the help, everything that our law enforcement in North Carolina has been doing to help her family. Her family.
One of the hearing's most dramatic moments came when Representative Deborah Ross confronted Attorney General Pam Bondi over the Justice Department's handling of Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Ross began with a straightforward question, asking whether anyone convicted of serious sex offenses deserves special privileges while serving a prison sentence. Bondi answered with an unequivocal no, making it clear that she did not believe convicted sex offenders should receive favorable treatment. Ross then explained why she believed that answer raised even more questions. She pointed to reports that Maxwell had recently received a 2-day interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche before being transferred from a federal prison in Florida to a minimum security prison camp in Texas. She also referenced public reports claiming Maxwell had access to privileges such as private workout sessions, extra recreational opportunities, and other accommodations that many inmates never receive. According to Ross, those reports have deeply upset survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, who continue to seek accountability years after the criminal investigation captured worldwide attention. She argued that every report suggesting preferential treatment damages public confidence that justice is being applied equally. Ross then turned to the issue she wanted answered most: who approved Maxwell's transfer. She repeatedly asked whether Bondi, Todd Blanche, or another senior Justice Department official authorized the decision. Bondi denied any personal involvement, stating that she learned about the transfer only after it occurred and explaining that inmate placement decisions are handled by the Bureau of Prisons. As the questioning continued, Bondi attempted to redirect the conversation toward other violent crimes and victims, arguing that those cases also deserved attention. Ross immediately pushed back, reminding the Attorney General that Congress had called her to testify specifically about the actions of the Justice Department and that lawmakers had every right to seek answers. The exchange became even more pointed when Ross raised reports that Maxwell's attorney had suggested cooperation with congressional investigators could depend on receiving clemency from President Trump. Ross asked Bondi directly whether Maxwell should ever receive a pardon or sentence reduction. Bondi responded that she hoped Maxwell would spend the rest of her life behind bars but declined to speculate about any future clemency decisions. Ross welcomed Bondi's position that Maxwell should remain imprisoned but continued pressing for transparency regarding how the prison transfer happened in the first place. As time expired, Ross questioned whether Justice Department officials responsible for advising the president on pardons could eventually become involved if Maxwell sought executive clemency. Bondi again declined to answer hypotheticals, and the hearing moved on to the next member. The exchange reflected the continuing public interest surrounding the Epstein investigation and the broader debate over accountability inside the Justice Department. For many Americans, the hearing was about more than one inmate's prison assignment. It was about whether the justice system applies the same standards to every person, regardless of how high-profile the case may be. Whether viewers agreed with Ross's line of questioning or Bondi's responses, the confrontation highlighted why the Epstein case continues to generate intense public scrutiny and why lawmakers continue pressing for greater transparency in one of the country's most closely watched criminal investigations.
As we heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question